Think solar lights have to look basic? Think again. Today, I'm sharing 7 Dollar Tree solar light DIYs that look high-end and are perfect for your porch and garden. Hi, I'm Katie from Lady Red Crafting. Let's get started. Grab a few solar table lamps from the Dollar Tree and go to the thrift store and try to find a candelabra. I found this beautiful one for $2 at the thrift store by my house. The fun thing about this project is it is completely different depending on what kind of candelabra you're able to find. My candelabra had 4 spots for candles, so I needed 4 solar lights. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just prepping my solar lights. I'm going to take everything apart. We're going to turn on our lamps to make sure everything works. And then I'm going to save the bases for a future project. But we are going to use the remainder of these pieces. So once I get my lamps put back together, I'm going to set aside 2 of them just like this. And for my other 2 lamps, I'm actually going to take one of the posts and we're going to measure it. This is a 6-inch post. I'm going to mark it in the center on the number 3. And then using my miter shears, we're going to cut this in half. It cuts really easily. I was a little skeptical at first, but this was a really easy cut to make. So now that we have 2 little posts, we are going to take those posts and add them to the last 2 lamps. I'll save the other posts for a future craft. Now I'm going to take these solar lights and add them to my candelabra. I'm just positioning them the way I would like. I'm putting the 2 smaller ones on either end and the 2 taller ones in the center. Now to keep these in place, I am going to be using hot glue for this. So I'm going to be putting the hot glue into the candelabra and then I'll reattach the solar light. This will give them a little bit of stability, but will make it easy to pop them out later on if I decide to use this for a different craft or if I need to change out my solar lights. And that's all there is to it. This beautiful candelabra is ready to display. This piece looks beautiful throughout the day on your table, but then in the evening, it is absolutely stunning. This is such a fun project. We're going to be making a stained glass solar light, and I'm using my gallery glass paints and gallery glass instant letting lines. For our first step, we're just going to deconstruct our solar light. Next, I'm going to take those instant lines and we're going to make a design on our cylinder clear piece. These instant lines are really easy to use. They're just long strips like a sticker that you're going to place on our cylinder. I'm going to make a lattice pattern, but you could definitely do whatever kind of pattern works best for you. Now, once you're satisfied with your pattern, I am taking my gallery glass paint here, and I'm just going to go ahead and add a small dot on the corners of all of my pieces, just to make sure everything is tacked down and give it more of a stained glass look. Now, after about 2 hours, I let that dry. I'm going to go ahead and grab a little egg carton here, and I'm gonna add my cylinder on top of that. I'm gonna start out by just doing 4 little squares, and I'm using a different color for each square. And this gallery glass works a lot like puffy paint. So we just go ahead and fill in each one of these squares with a different color, and then we're going to let this dry. Once those 4 have dried, I'm able to rotate this cylinder, and we keep repeating this step where we add the paint, let it dry, and continue to rotate the cylinder until we've completed the whole entire light. Now, once everything has dried, here is what your lampshade is going to look like. Now, all we need to do is put together our solar light and go ahead and add this to our garden. I just love how this turns out. It looks beautiful in the sunlight, but looks amazing in the evening. This is such a fun twist to use a solar light from the Dollar Tree and elevate it to the next level. For this craft, we're going to be using one of these solar stake lights. I'm going to deconstruct it, and we're going to take that center piece, the clear piece of this little light, and I'm going to take this outside with some spray paint. We're going to be using the Krylon Fusion spray paint for this. I'm just going to spray paint the exterior on this piece. Now, while our spray paint is drying, I'm going to be prepping some acrylic paint. I'm using my Folk Art Bark Brown. I'm also going to be using Tea Rose Pink. Then we're going to be using this 239 Podge Pink Rose Pink. And it is really bright. It's almost like a fuchsia color. I'm also going to use a little bit of this in another compartment here and mix it with some white coconut flat paint. I'm also going to just use a little bit of white paint to fill my other container. Now that we have our paints all prepped and our center piece has been painted and dried using the spray paint, we are going to set this down onto an egg carton. And this egg carton is going to be like our extra set of hands so that nothing moves around. First, I'm going to start by painting a few little branches using our brown paint. And if you haven't guessed yet, we are painting cherry blossoms. I absolutely love making these. This is such a fun beginner-friendly painting project. So I'm using just Q-tips here, and I'm going to use the darker color pink, and I'm going to make little dots on the branches here to start my little flower buds. Now, once that has dried a little bit, I am going to come in with a new Q-tip, and using the Desert Rose Pink, we're going to add some highlights to each one of these flowers. Then after about 5 minutes of dry time, I'm going to come in with another Q-tip, and we are using the mixed white and the pink, the darker pink, together. And we're going to add a little bit more color to each one of these flowers. Then while that's drying, I am coming in with my brown paint, and I'm going to add just a few little brown leaves onto my stem. And now that the pink flowers have dried, we're going to come in with a paintbrush here, and I'm going to make a center on all of these flowers using my white coconut paint. And then we'll let those white centers dry. Now let's go ahead and take a little bit of that brown paint again, and I'm going to paint a small dot inside each of these flowers. And then go ahead and let your paint dry. Now here is what our light is starting to look like. Next, I'm going to go ahead and rotate this light, and I'm going to pick another section, and I'm going to repeat the same steps to make these beautiful flowers. Now, while we have a moment, I want to tell you all about this fun playlist I co-host every month with Loli at Loli D's Creations. Our guest host this month is DIY with Aria. These ladies are absolutely amazing. I have been crafting with them now for about 3 years, and I just love how they craft and what beautiful things they make. The playlist for Sunshine and Summer DIY inspiration is linked in my description box below. Please check it out, give everyone some love, and let them know I sent you. Now let's get back to our video. Now, once we're done putting our finishing touches on our little lamp here, after everything has completely dried, I'm going to be taking my matte clear enamel from Rust-Oleum, and I'm going to go ahead and just do a sealing coat over the top of this paint. Now all we need to do is put our little lamp back together. And then let's take this outside and see how it looks in the garden. And wow, I just love how this decorates my little flower pot. I also think this is going to look amazing in the evening. Here is what it looks like at night. Let's transform one of these Tiki lamps from the Dollar Tree and make a beautiful piece for your garden. We're going to start out by deconstructing our lamp here. And to take this apart, you do have to take the top off. And there's a little shade over the top of the light. I do remove that as well for this step because I don't want to get any paint on that. Let's make sure our lamp works and let's get started. So I'm going to be using my Martha Stewart gilded acrylic paint, and this is a metallic paint, and I use this as a substitute to rub and buff on some items. For this project, we are just going to use one of these round brushes, and we're going to dry brush our piece. I think this turns out absolutely amazing. This is such a great alternative to rub and buff and gives such a high-end look to a Dollar Tree solar light. And now that our base is painted, we are going to do a dry brush over that solar light. If you get any of that paint on the solar light, while the paint is still wet, I just use a baby wipe to clean that off. And since this solar light is going to be out in the elements, I did want to do a quick coat of Rust-Oleum matte clear enamel over the top of everything, just so it will last a little bit longer. Now, all we need to do is go ahead and put our light together, and our cute little Tiki light is ready to display. This looks so high-end. I just love how this turns out. This definitely elevates that Dollar Tree solar light to an elegant decor piece for your yard. Let's transform this solar light into a beautiful decoupage lantern. I'm going to go ahead and deconstruct our solar light. We'll go ahead and remove that tab and just make sure our light works. So now that we have our solar light deconstructed, let's go ahead and prep our napkin. I found this napkin at Home Goods and I absolutely love the design on this. And to prep our napkin, I'm going to go ahead and unfold it and remove those back two layers. Now that we have those back two layers removed, I'm going to take a little container of water and a paintbrush, and I'm going to paint around a flower on our piece. We're just going to lightly tear those flowers out. And once we have a few flowers prepped, I'm taking my glossy Mod Podge and I'm going to paint a little spot on the interior of our cylinder here of our light. And we're just going to lightly paint that Mod Podge in there. Then we're going to lay one of those flowers face down so it will face out on our light. And then I'm taking a small little piece of cling wrap and I'm going to use that to smooth my little napkin into place. Once I've done that, I'm going to continue repeating that step until I'm satisfied with the number of flowers inside of the light that are facing out. And before we move on to our next step, I am going to come back in with a little bit of Mod Podge and seal all of those pieces into place by just doing a nice coat over the top of our napkin. Now, once our napkin has dried, I'm going to be taking my Krylon spray paint and taking our piece outside. We're going to carefully spray paint the interior of our cylinder. You need to take your time with this, but once you get this painted, it's going to look amazing. Now all we need to do is put together our light, and our cute decoupage lamp is ready to display. I just love how this turns out. It's such a fun way to incorporate decoupage in your outdoor decor. So at the thrift store the other day, I found this beautiful little candle stand, and I thought this would be great to use for a solar light craft. I also picked up one of these little glass bowls while I was at the thrift store. I just love the gold hammered look on our little candlestick, so I'm going to take this Martha Stewart gilded paint, and we're going to use this to add a little bit of texture and dimension to our little lamp. And once we are satisfied with our little solar light, we'll go ahead and let this dry. Now let's put this all together. I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue to make sure my solar light stays in place, but will be easy enough for me to pop it off if I need to be able to do any changing on the lights. And now once that is secure, we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of hot glue to the top of the light around where the solar piece is, just on that plastic part. Then we're going to take that bowl and we're going to flip it over and add that right on top. It's going to look like a little lampshade or even a little UFO. Now once that glue dries, let's take this out to our garden. I just love how this looks out on a table, and at night, this lights up amazing. Here is what it looks like on one table, and I'm going to put it on a different table just so you can kind of get the effect a little bit differently. Let me know what you guys think about this little lampshade down in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this content, don't forget to hit that like or subscribe button. Thanks! Don't blink, this project is quick and easy. Let's grab one of the solar tree lamps from the Dollar Tree, and once we get that home, I'm going to pair this up with my Martha Stewart metallic gilded paint. This is an acrylic paint with very low odor and definitely is a great substitute to rub and buff. I am just going to take this paint and I'm going to dry brush it on my piece, and that is all. I go ahead and I just lightly dry brush this over the whole entire piece, and it gives it such a rich and high-end look, looking like something that you might find at Pottery Barn. And another great thing with this paint is it dries so quickly, so you can make these up in a half an hour later. You have beautiful high-end decor that nobody would know you bought from the Dollar Tree. Now let's go ahead and take this piece outside. This looks stunning during the day and absolutely amazing in the night. Look at this beautiful lamp. This looks so high-end. I just love how this looks. Let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that like button. Thanks! I hope these 7 solar light DIYs inspired you to add a little extra light and charm to your porch, patio, or garden this season. Let me know in the comments below which project was your favorite, and if you try one, I'd love to see it. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with a crafty friend. Thank you so much for spending time with me today, and until next time, please remember, craft more, stress less.